Welcome back to Ion Radio. I'm John, and today I'm surrounded by literally a wall of mechs. Today we're going to be looking at the BattleTech Clan Kickstarter Wave II mechs. There's a lot more mechs in Wave 2 than there was in Wave 1, so let's dive right into all of them and check them out. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm just going to start grabbing boxes. I'm going to open them and I'm going to show you each of the miniatures and talk about what I think about them. So our first box is the Clan Heavy Star. It has in it the Stone Rhino, Supernova, Marauder 2C, Warhammer 2C, and Hunchback 2C. So this is a lot of behind the lines type mechs plus the Supernova. So let's open up and take a look. Here we have the Stone Rhino. It is a massive mech with really big guns. We have the Marauder 2C. It's a little bit bigger than your normal Marauders. I can see my barrel's a little bit bent, so I'll have to put that back into place. We have the Warhammer 2C, which is like the Warhammer, but I believe the clan add about 5 extra tons to it. We have next the Hunchback 2C. I've used this mech quite a bit recently in our Somerset playthrough. I'm not sure if I'm actually a fan of it. It has really big guns, but it has paper for armor. And then the last one, this is one of my favorite mechs from back in the day when I played MechWarrior 3. It is a Supernova. And that's the Clan Heavy Star. Okay, let's grab another box. This next box is the Clan Heavy Battlestar, which is just slightly different than the Clan Heavy Star. This box includes the Turnkick, Kingfisher, Crossbow, Ebon Jaguar, and the Huntsman. Let's open up and take this box a look. Okay, first up we have the Kingfisher. This is one of the Clan Assault mechs. Then we have the Huntsman next. Followed by this very strange looking Turnkeek. Look how wide that mech is. Then we have the Crossbow, who has these giant missile arms. Followed by the Ebon Jaguar, also known as the Cauldronborn. This is one of my favorite mechs, just because it has like a weird array of weapons. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of this model though. I prefer some of the older models of this. Next up we have the Clan Striker Star. It has the Vapor Eagle, the Conjurer, Horned Owl, Incubus, and the Piranha. I'll be perfectly honest, I don't know much about any of these mechs. I have used the Vapor Eagle in MechWarrior Online, and also the Piranha because it is the machine gun or small laser king. So let's start with that one. Here is the Piranha. You can see it is a small, tiny mech, but it has as many machine guns or as many small lasers as you can get onto it. Next up we have the Incubus, And it kind of looks like it belongs in the old school Shadowhawk realm of mechs. Next we have the Horned Owl. It just looks like a small mech. We have the Conjurer. And then the Vapor Eagle. They really went with an aggressive look on this Vapor Eagle. It kind of looks like almost samurai-ish, which is kind of cool for those of you that like Kirta. Next up we have the Clan Firestar. It has the Warhawk, Nova Cat, Cougar, Kit Fox, and Firemoth. I think I like every single one of these. So let's take a look what this new mold and models look like. Up first, we have the Warhawk, and it is as big and boxy and look at all those weapons as you thought it was. Next we have the Nova Cat and Mech Warrior 4. I use this mech a lot and it looks really good. Then we have a bunch of the smaller clan mechs. We have the Ulner or Kit Fox. I'm excited for this one. The Dasher with his silly arms up, but he will fit well into all of my Ghost Bear paint schemes that I have to carry around some of those small little elements. Finally, this is actually one of my favorite mechs. It's in almost every single one of the video games that I played growing up. It is the Cougar, and this model looks pretty good. It has that like jet fighter cockpit with then the missile racks right next to it. Way more weapons than a light mech should be allowed to carry. Okay, moving on to the Clan Support Star. This has the Niger, Linebacker, Blacklander, Battle Cobra, and the Arctic Cheetah. This is moving into the territory of I'm not very familiar with these mechs, but let's start with the ones that I am familiar with. This is the Linebacker. It has that squatted down pose like it's going to make a tackle. This is what Clan Wolf replaced the Timberwolf with. How dare they try to replace the Timberwolf, but this is actually a really good mech. Next we have the Arctic Wolf or Arctic Cheetah, hold on. Arctic Cheetah. There's so many different Arctic names. This is a pretty cool mech. Then we have the Niger, and this thing looks super intimidating. Then we have the Battle Cobra. I don't know much about this mech, but it's kind of cool looking. And then last we have the Blacklander, and it almost fits into that Shadowcat looking mech. I'll have to look into the stats to see if I actually like it or not. We are now on to the last of the clan boxes. This is the Clan Adhoc Star. It has one of my favorite mechs in it. It is the Kodiak. Cannot wait to take a look at that. The Fire Falcon, the Hellion, the Howler, and the Pack Hunter. Let's take a look at them. Okay, let's start off with the Pack Hunter. It reminds me a lot of the Howlrunner, or Howlrun, I believe is the name. It's the Steiner mech that just basically has a Gauss rifle or whatever giant style weapon the Steiners put on it. Next we have the Pack Hunter. I don't know much about it. It almost looks like it's a Clan Raven. Then we have the Hellion. Just looks like they kept strapping weapons to it. And then we have the Howler, which I believe is Fire Mandrill's totem mech. And then, last, it's the Chunky Boy. It is the totem mech of my favorite, Clan Ghost Bear. And it looks amazing. Now that we're done with the clans, we're going to move on to the Intersphere. We're going to start with the Intersphere Heavy Lance. In this you have the Banshee, the Grasshopper, Centurion, and the Hatchetman. As you know, Grasshoppers are one of my favorites, so let's take a look at what they look like. Let's start with the Banshee. I actually really like this sculpt. I think that it looks way better than the older ones. We have the Centurion, and it looks like they took the classic Centurion and they blended it with a more modern Centurion, so this one came out pretty well. We have the Hatchetman. He has that weird head still, and then that classic, I'm gonna hit you with it hatchet, his namesake. Now, I've used him a lot against Ken in our different campaigns. It is the Grasshopper, and I'm very happy with the way this mech looks. Next we have the Intersphere Direct Fire Lance. In this box you get the Atlas, the Marauder 2, the Orion, and the Crusader. These are all super classic mechs. I really haven't taken the time to look. I am very curious to see how they turned out. So first up we have the Marauder 2, and it is gorgeous. Next we have the Orion. I don't know about you, but this mech has a lot of nostalgia for me. It is one of the first heavy mechs you run into in the campaign in Mech Warrior 3. And you're in this little bushwhacker, and this thing just comes out and starts shooting at you, and you just try to salvage it. This is one of my favorite mechs. Next we have the Crusader, and I'm pretty happy with it. It still looks reminiscent of that older BattleTech, but definitely has been modernized. Lastly in this pack, we have the very classic, we have the Atlas. And looking at this model right now, it still has the classic head that I'm gonna have to paint skull white for whatever force I put this guy into. Moving along to the Intersphere Fire Lance. This is Longbow, Stalker, Zeus, and Trebuchet. If you like missiles, this is the pack to get. First up, we have the Stalker, and I feel that I really like this model compared to other ones, because it used to have like this tiny little itty bitty Stalker that they had, or you had this giant egg one. And this is just this is what I think of when I think of a Stalker. Next up we have the Zeus, and it's appropriately sized as an assault mech. I have no complaints about that. Then you have the Trebuchet. And the trebuchet has also lived in this strange miniature world that it's either way too big or it's way too small, and I feel like that's appropriately scaled as a medium mech. And then finally, raining down missiles, we have the longbow in its very classic look with those giant arm missile bays. Pretty excited about that. Let's get some closer up views of them. Now we're on to the Intersphere Striker Lance, which we have the Blackjack, Panther, Wolfhound, and Jenner. This is very much so a Davian versus House Kirta split between the mechs. These are all mechs that I enjoy using for all of my forces, so they're probably going to just be repainted right into the paint schemes that I already have. Here's the Panther. Sticking with the Kirtan theme, we have the Jenner, which still has that weird disc-shaped head that's stuck out on the platform like all the other ones. Next we have the Blackjack, which I think this is a good modern take on it. The other ones, sometimes actually, I bought from eBay a box and it had a Blackjack, and I literally could not identify it, and I had to go on the Facebook group and be like, what is this? Because there's such a lack of detail, so I'm excited to paint this one up to replace that guy. Lastly, we have the Wolfhound, which was directly designed by the Davians to hunt down Wolverines. Sorry, not Davians, FedCon. Now we're on the Intersphere Urban Lance. This has the Victor, Enforcer, Hunchback, and Raven. Let's start off with the Enforcer. This is a mech that I've been excited to add to my Davian forces. I actually don't have one yet, which is kind of crazy. Next we have the Raven, and this, I already have one painted up, but this is probably going to be painted up to be in my Liao Death Commandos group. It is very nice. I really like how slanted and pointed that beak on this mech is. Hunchback, it's your standard, here's a medium mech, and we're here to play AC-20 or AC-10 or missiles or lasers. There's a Hunchback for everyone. Finally, we have a Victor, and I'm torn if I'm going to put this into my Davian forces or my House Kirta force. Now we have the Intersphere Support Lance. It has the Cyclops, Thug, Dragon, and Spider. All very classic mechs. First, let's start off with Thug. And he just looks like he's going to try to bully someone off the battlefield. Then we have the Cyclops, which I think is going to be pretty good. I'm going to probably paint it up as a Donegal guard. Next we have a Dragon, who's going to go right into my sort of light unit for House Kirta. And it looks like what a Dragon should look like. Lastly, This guy is not a big chunky boy like the rest of them in this pack. This is the Spider, and his entire back's covered with jump jets. I kind of like the way he looks. We are now on to our last of the Intersphere boxes. We are on the Intersphere Heavy Battle Lance. This box contains the Night Star, Cataphract, Axeman, and Bushwhacker. Up first we have the Axeman, who shares two things similar with the Hatchetman. He has a really weird head, and he carries an axe. Next we have the Night Star, and man, this mech looks awesome. This might be one of my favorite Intersphere mechs that came in these new packs. It just screams, I'm an assault mech, and let's mess this up. Next we have the Cataphract, and it's just the classic design Cataphract. I could put this into any number of my forces. Then lastly is the Bushwhacker, which, like I was talking about earlier, a lot of nostalgia with this mech because this is the mech that you start Mech Warrior 3 in. I'm excited to get it onto the battlefield. Now we're going to move on to the Comstar Battle Level 2s. So I don't know if you guys know this, but each of these different types of groups organized differently. Clan organized in stars of 5, Intersphere lances of 4, Comstar and the Evil Word of Blake Level 2, which will be 6 mechs. So first up we have the Comstar Battle Level 2. It includes the Croquette, Flashman, Guillotine, Lancelot, Crab, and the Mongoose. So let's look at the Guillotine. I have a couple Guillotines that I have painted up, the older models from the old Alpha Strike, and I think this one looks better. Then we have the Croquette. Don't know much about this mech, so I'm going to have to look into the stats. Next we have the Flashman, which I personally think the Flashman and the Imp look a lot alike, just with their weird head bodies. But this is a Flashman. Then we have the Lancelot. And a lot of these mechs are old SDLF mechs that Comstar just kept around because they're way better than anything the Intersphere had for centuries. Then we have the Mongoose. He's just a small little scout mech, especially when you compare him to some of these bigger monster mechs. Lastly, we have the Crab with the little pincher arms. Moving on to our last full expansion and the second of the Comstar Level 2s. This is the Comstar Command Level 2. It includes a King Crab, a Highlander, Black Knight, Exterminator, Sentinel, and Mercury. Let's start off with what everyone really wants to see first. And that, of course, is the Sentinel. Followed up by his little other friend, the Mercury. This model is very small, but has a lot of detail in it. Next up, we have the Exterminator. And the Highlander. Now these last two, I'm really excited to paint up, so let's take a look at it. This is the Black Knight. And we're gonna close out this with this absolutely gorgeous king crab. I cannot wait to get this king crab painted up. Okay, so special thanks out to Cazares. They included this special salvage box. It's a Shalom Aerospace fighter. This is actually going to be the first Aerospace fighter that I own, so I'm kind of excited for it. Let's take a look at what it looks like. So inside comes with the Alpha Strike cards for it, a stand, and a hex. Let's put it together. So, I guess I'm going to have to use some aerospace support at some point in one of our games. I have 10 Wave 1 salvage boxes that came in my Wave 2 shipment. So let's open them up and take a look. First box, I've already cut all of the boxes, so I just need to prime open and see what's inside. So the first one is one of my favorite mechs. It is a Vulture or Mad Dog. Moving on to the second one. It is a Mist Lynx. Up next we have a good old Dire Wolf. I think in my first set of salvage boxes, the Dire Wolf is the one that I got the most. Next we have a Shadow Cat. Excited about that. Then we have an Ice Ferret. Followed by a Nova. All the medium lasers. And we got another Ice Ferret. That's 2 Ice Ferrets. Very nice. A Timberwolf. You cannot have enough Timberwolves. They're just such a classic mech. And every single clan pretty much uses them. Speaking of not having enough of them, another Timberwolf. Last box. Let's see what is inside of it. another ice ferret. While you can't have enough Timberwolves, I think I've reached a good limit for ice ferrets. So that's my contents of my salvage boxes. I'll show you some pictures of them now. Well, thank you very much for joining me with this unboxing video to see all of the brand new mechs. I still need to figure out what I'm going to paint as what, if I'm going to just start a complete new faction or regiment. Let me know down in the comments what you're going to be painting your mechs up as. So hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, and add a comment down below about what you think of the Wave II BattleTech Kickstarter. Thank you very much for watching. I'm John, and this has been Ion Radio.